So what you're looking at here is my pattern that I have this line right here is 4¼ inches, but I've trimmed the whole thing to be 5 inches. The piece of paper would be 5 inches. And the reason why I did that, let me zoom in first to show you, I have just put pencil line where I want it to rub off the areas that I don't need. And like in here, I don't want that to be rubbed off. These lines that cross over here, I didn't want those to be rubbed off, so I don't have the pencil lines there. So now I can take one of my squares and I can put this over top of it perfectly. So now I know it's going to be totally centered, and I'm going to rub that down on these 3 pieces of paper. So here I am mixing my paints. So remember that black is really, really intense. So I've got on this paintbrush, there's the slightest amount of black, and I'm actually gonna wipe some of it off as well. And then I'm going to mix what I have on my brush in with this red, because it can overpower the red so quickly. And I'm mixing it quite well. All right, so now I'm going to add a little more red over here. I'm going to take a hair more black this time. So the one over on the left, I had thought I added a teeny tiny little black to it, and I quickly overpowered it. As you can see, it's very dark. So this is getting quite a bit darker with such a little teeny bit of black added. All right, I want to add just a hair more. So I have this paintbrush here that I mixed that one. It's got a little bit more black in it, so I'm going to just rub some of that there and mix that in there. So here I've got 5 different values. We've got black, red, a dark black, a medium one, and a light one. Eventually I'll probably add another degree in here, but I don't want to mix too much paint up at once because I don't want it to get dried out as well, because I don't want to rush in my painting. Notice while I'm painting, I paint in areas that aren't touching each other so that I don't get wet paint blending into wet paint. So as I've been working, I have both a flat brush and a thin brush. The flat brush gets me nice, flat, even strokes, and the pointy one gets in smaller areas. Now, looking at my design here, I'm realizing that this area right here, there's not enough contrast. So I'm going to let that dry completely, and then I can go brush over it with a darker color. Looking at my designs before I begin, one thing I'm thinking I might want to do is where I've used the purest red, to do that the same on each one of my designs. So here is my pure red. So I'm going to do this same archway with the 100% red hue. So here you see my palette. I made up 2 different grays. Got a little red mixed in there, I shouldn't have. There's my red, and so these 2 over here are with the lighter gray, and this one is with the darker gray. This is my final tone project. Notice that some of the gray areas look very bluish. This is because I was not able to get the same brand of extra black paint as I was all the other paints. So this is one of the reasons why you really want to use the same brand. So this is my final tint project. I stuck it underneath my frame to look at it before I did the final gluing. So here's a diagram of the 6-inch base and then the 6-inch frame with the window cut out. I put a piece of tape to hinge them, and then I folded it back down and trimmed the tape. The next step was putting my final artwork down with a little tiny bit of tape so that I could flip the top down, make sure it fit well, and then after I knew that it fit well, I carefully peeled it back, spread the glue down with the piece of paper, not touching it with my fingers because then you make a mess of your fingers. And then I put a piece of clean paper down to make sure that I could get it dried flat. So here the last image is putting a stack of my Joseph Albers books on